First contact shock. The experimental human vessel Pathfinder shuddered as it tore through the fabric of space-time. The bridge crew braced themselves against their acceleration couches, the familiar nausea of a jump washing over them. Captain Maya Rodriguez kept her eyes locked on the holographic display as reality reasserted itself. "Jump complete," announced Lieutenant Wei, his fingers dancing across his console. "Checking coordinates now." Maya expected to see the empty void of the TOS CD system. What appeared instead made her blood run cold. "Captain," Wei's voice cracked, "we have multiple contacts. Hundreds of them." The view screen flickered to life, revealing a bustling spaceport unlike anything humanity had ever constructed. Massive structures of impossible geometry hung in the void, connected by shimmering energy conduits. Ships of various configurations moved in precise patterns, their designs defying human engineering principles. "Are we being scanned?" Maya asked, her training taking over despite the shock. "Yes, Mom. Multiple directed energy signatures, non-weapon grade. I think they're just curious." Chief Engineer Okonkwo unstrapped from his couch, moving to a secondary console. "The jump drive is stable but needs 12 hours before we can initiate another translation. Whatever happens, we're staying for dinner." Maya nodded grimly. This wasn't how first contact was supposed to happen. The Pathfinder was humanity's first faster-than-light capable vessel, designed for cautious exploration of nearby star systems. Instead, they'd apparently dropped into the middle of an alien Grand Central Station. "Open communications on all frequencies," she ordered. "Standard first contact package ready to broadcast." Communications Officer Patel nodded. "Ready, Captain." Before Maya could give the command, the main view screen shifted, displaying what could only be described as an alien. Its body resembled a collection of translucent blue crystal formations arranged in a roughly humanoid shape. Pulses of light traveled through its structure as it regarded them with what might have been sensors clustered at the top of its form. "Unknown vessel." The ship's AI translated the alien's vibrations into English. "You have entered restricted space without proper transit authorization. Identify your species and purpose immediately." Maya stood, straightening her uniform. "This is Captain Maya Rodriguez of the Earth exploration vessel Pathfinder. We are representatives of humanity, and we apologize for our intrusion. We are on our first interstellar voyage, and experienced a navigation error." The crystalline being pulsed rapidly, the lights within it flashing in complex patterns. The view screen split to reveal a second alien, this one appearing as a floating collection of metallic spheres arranged in an intricate orbital pattern. Impossible. The second alien's transmission came through. "Humans are a pre-FTL species under Observation Protocol 7293. Your presence here violates the Developmental Integrity Accord." Maya exchanged glances with her executive officer, Commander Chen. "Under observation. I assure you, we developed our FTL capability independently. This is our first contact with any non-Earth intelligence." A third alien appeared on the screen, resembling something like a massive jellyfish, with bioluminescent patterns rippling across its surface. The human vessel must be contained until the Council determines appropriate action. Their quantum displacement drive signature is unlike anything in our databases. "Captain," Wei whispered urgently, "multiple vessels are moving to surround us. Their energy signatures are spiking." Maya understood the implication. "Broadcast on all frequencies. This is Captain Rodriguez. We come in peace and will comply with all instructions. We request diplomatic discussion and clarification of our status." The crystalline alien's lights pulsed in what the AI tentatively translated as surprise. "Your vessel will be escorted to docking bay E7729. Prepare to receive a diplomatic delegation. Any attempt to activate your drive system will be considered hostile action." As the transmission ended, Maya turned to her crew. "Well, that's not how I expected our maiden voyage to go. It seems we've stumbled into something bigger than we anticipated." "They said we're under observation," Chen noted. That implies they've known about Earth for some time. And they clearly didn't expect us to develop FTL technology on our own, Okonkwo added. Our quantum displacement approach must be different from whatever they use. Maya nodded, which gives us a possible advantage. Let's prepare to receive our guests. Full diplomatic protocols. No weapons visible, but security teams on standby. And Okonkwo, already on it, Captain, the engineer replied. I'm encrypting all drive specifications and spinning up our cybersecurity measures. If they want to learn how we made the jump, they'll have to ask nicely. The Pathfinder allowed itself to be guided into the massive space station. Up close, the structure was even more impressive. A feat of engineering that made Earth's most ambitious projects look like children's toys. The docking procedure was handled automatically. The ship nestled into a berth clearly designed for vessels of various configurations. Atmospheric analysis shows breathable air, reported Dr. Katri, the ship's exobiologist. Similar to Earth standard, though with higher oxygen content and trace elements I don't recognize. I recommend we use our own air supply until we can conduct further tests. Maya nodded. Agreed. Let's not take unnecessary risks. The airlock cycled, and the delegation entered the Pathfinder. 3 different species entered. The crystalline entity they'd spoken with, a tall, spindly creature with 4 arms and iridescent skin, and what appeared to be a hovering mechanical construct that might have been a drone or an I embodiment. I am Resonance of Truth, the crystalline being introduced itself. Senior diplomatic adjunct for the Galactic Concord. This is Vexala of the Nimble Hands and Autonomous Unit 7733. We are authorized to determine how humans have achieved the impossible. Maya bowed slightly. We're honored to meet representatives of the galactic community. I am authorized to engage in preliminary diplomatic discussions, but I must note that we have questions of our own, particularly regarding your statement that humanity has been under observation. Resonance of Truth's crystals pulsed. Your species has been cataloged and monitored since you developed radio communications. According to established progression models, humans should not have achieved quantum displacement technology for at least 300 more standard cycles. And yet, here we are, Maya replied with a slight smile. Vexilla stepped forward, all 4 arms moving in complex patterns that seemed to indicate agitation. Your drive system. Our preliminary scans show principles that contradict established unification theory. It should not function, and yet it does. How did you solve the quantum coherence problem without unified field manipulation? Okonkwo cleared his throat. We didn't solve it. We went around it. The mechanical unit emitted a series of clicks and whirs. Clarification required. Quantum coherence cannot be gone around. It is a fundamental barrier to spatial displacement. Maya could see Okonkwo struggling not to launch into a technical explanation. Their orders were clear: protect Earth's technological advantages until proper diplomatic protocols were established. Perhaps, Maya suggested, we could discuss these matters after establishing some diplomatic foundations. We're clearly newcomers to your community, and there must be protocols for such situations. Resonance of Truth pulsed rapidly. This situation is unprecedented. No species has ever developed quantum displacement technology independently of Concord guidance. The implications are concerning. Concerning. Chen asked. We assure you our intentions are peaceful. We seek only exploration and peaceful contact. Vexilla's upper limbs twisted in what might have been skepticism. Your species' historical records indicate a propensity for conflict and rapid technological adaptation. The combination of these traits with independent FTL capability represents a potential destabilizing factor in the galactic balance. Maya felt a chill at the implication. Are you suggesting that humanity represents a threat simply by existing? Not a threat. Resonance of Truth clarified. Crystals pulsing in softer patterns. An anomaly. Anomalies must be studied, understood, and, if necessary, contained for the greater harmony. The word contained hung in the air like a knife. Maya exchanged glances with her officers, understanding dawning across their faces. They hadn't just stumbled into first contact. They'd stumbled into a political and philosophical crisis for an established galactic order. Perhaps, Maya suggested carefully, we could demonstrate that anomalies need not be disruptive. Humanity is eager to learn and contribute to this greater community. The Council will determine appropriate action, Resonance of Truth stated. Until then, your vessel will remain here. We will require interviews with your engineering staff and access to your historical and cultural databases to better understand how this anomaly occurred. Maya nodded, knowing they had little choice but to comply for now. We'll cooperate fully within the boundaries of our security protocols. I trust you understand that just as you have concerns about us, we must be prudent about sharing all our technological advancements without proper treaties in place. As the alien delegation departed to confer among themselves, Maya gathered her senior staff in the ship's conference room. So, she said, looking around at her officers, it seems humanity isn't as alone in the universe as we thought, and we've just crashed what appears to be a very exclusive party. They're scared, Chen observed, not just surprised, genuinely concerned about what we represent. Okonkwo nodded. Our approach to quantum displacement is fundamentally different from theirs. While they've been refining the same technology for who knows how long, we took a completely different path. Which makes us unpredictable, Chatri added. And in established political systems, unpredictability is often seen as threatening. Maya leaned forward. Then we need to make ourselves valuable rather than threatening. Okonkwo, prepare a limited technical briefing, enough to demonstrate our approach without giving away the core innovations. Chatri, analyze everything we can learn about their biology and cultural indicators. Patel, I want you monitoring all communications we can detect. And Wei, keep our engines warm, the lieutenant suggested with a grim smile. Exactly, Maya confirmed. We're going to be diplomatic, cooperative, and completely transparent, right up to the line of our security protocols. But if things go sideways, I want to be ready to leave, even if we have to tear a new hole in space-time to do it. As her officers departed to their tasks, Maya stared out the viewport at the bustling alien station. Humanity had dreamed of this moment for centuries, contact with a galactic civilization. But no one had anticipated that when we finally reached for the stars, we might be reaching into a hornet's nest. The game was just beginning, and humanity's place in the cosmos would depend on how well they played their unexpected hand. Technological poker. 3 days into what Commander Chen had started calling the interstellar standoff, the Pathfinder remained docked at the massive station, now identified as Concordance Hub 7, one of many such structures serving as nexus points for the Galactic Concorde's sprawling civilization. The human crew had been granted limited access to public areas of the station, always under the watchful sensors of security drones. Captain Rodriguez sat across from Resonance of Truth in what passed for a conference room, though the furniture had clearly been hastily adapted for human physiology. 4 other alien representatives were present, representing what she had learned were the major political factions of the Concorde. Your explanation of human history is troubling, said Mevlorkian, a representative of a species that resembled massive arthropods. You developed from competing nation-states to unified planetary governance in less than 1 century, while simultaneously advancing from combustion engines to quantum displacement technology. Maya nodded. Necessity drives innovation. The climate crisis of the late 21st century forced unprecedented cooperation. Yet your approach to technological development seems haphazard at best, said the representative of the unified consciousness, a collective entity that manifested as a swirling cloud of luminescent particles. You pursued multiple competing theoretical frameworks simultaneously rather than following established progression paths. Chief Engineer Okonkwo, who had been invited to the session, leaned forward. With respect, that's precisely why we succeeded where your models predicted we would fail. Instead of pursuing the single approach to FTL travel, we explored dozens simultaneously. The quantum displacement method wasn't even considered viable until Dr. Chatterjee's breakthrough with entangled state manipulation, which directly contradicts established unification principles. Vexala interjected, all four arms gesturing in complex patterns. Your approach should have resulted in catastrophic space-time destabilization. Okonkwo smiled. Yet here we are. Maya could see the growing frustration among the alien delegates. For 3 days, they had been probing for details about humanity's FTL technology, while offering little in return beyond vague assurances that the Council was still deliberating on humanity's status. Perhaps, Maya suggested, we could move beyond theoretical discussions. A practical demonstration might help bridge our understanding. We've shared the basic principles of our approach. Why not share some of yours in return? A fair exchange would demonstrate good faith. Resonance of Truth's crystals pulsed in what Maya had learned to recognize as discomfort. The Concord's technologies are developed and distributed according to established protocols. Species are introduced to advancements in a carefully managed progression. Which brings us to the heart of the matter. Maya pressed. You keep referring to these established protocols and progression models. From our perspective, it seems the Concord maintains technological control over member species. Is that accurate? The conference room fell silent. The alien representatives exchanged what might have been meaningful glances, though with their diverse physiologies, Maya couldn't be certain. The harmonious progression doctrine ensures stability. Resonance of Truth finally replied. Throughout galactic history, species that develop technologies out of sequence often destroy themselves or others. The doctrine prevents such tragedies, or maintains the power structure of whoever established these protocols, Commander Chen observed quietly. Before the aliens could respond, Maya's communicator chimed with an emergency signal. "Excuse me," she said, stepping away to answer. Lieutenant Wei's voice came through, tense and urgent. "Captain, we're detecting unusual energy patterns around the Pathfinder. They appear to be attempting to penetrate our security systems." Maya kept her expression neutral as she returned to the table. "It seems our discussion must be cut short. My ship is detecting unauthorized scanning attempts that go beyond the agreed parameters. Is there something specific you're looking for that you haven't asked directly?" Vexala's skin changed color rapidly. "Standard security protocols are not what's happening right now," Maya interrupted firmly. "If the Concord wishes to maintain diplomatic relations with Earth, this kind of subterfuge must end immediately." Resonance of Truth pulsed rapidly. "I assure you, Captain Rodriguez, if such scanning is occurring, it is not with Council authorization. There are factions within the Concord with their own agendas." Maya nodded, understanding the unspoken message. The unified front presented by the alien delegation concealed political divisions and competing interests. "Then I suggest we adjourn until these unauthorized activities cease. The Pathfinder will enact additional security protocols in the meantime." As the human contingent departed, Okonkwo whispered, "They're getting desperate. Our firewalls caught multiple intrusion attempts targeting the drive specifications, and we still don't know if we're guests or prisoners," Chen added. Back aboard the Pathfinder, Maya called an emergency meeting of her senior staff. "Status report. Their scanning technology is impressive but predictable," Okonkwo reported. "They're clearly used to systems that follow their standardized protocols. Our hybrid architecture is confusing their algorithms." Dr. Katri nodded enthusiastically. "It's fascinating, really. Their entire approach to technology is based on a unified framework, elegant and efficient, but with blind spots when confronted with our messier methods. And their political structure shows similar characteristics," added Chen. "On the surface, this Concord appears unified, but I've noted at least 3 distinct factions with different attitudes toward us. The Harmonious Progression Group views us as dangerous anomalies. The Expansion Advocates see potential advantages in our technology, and the Autonomy Collective seems genuinely curious about our independent development." Maya considered this information. So we're dealing with a technological monoculture with political divisions we might exploit. Options. We could try to ally with the expansion advocates, suggested Chen. They seem most receptive to the idea that different approaches might have merit. Okonkwo shook his head. Too risky without understanding their internal politics better. I suggest a demonstration instead. Show them something our approach can do that theirs can't, but nothing they could easily reverse engineer. The localized quantum field manipulator, Maya asked. Exactly, Okonkwo grinned. It's a secondary application of our drive technology, but one with immediate practical applications they might appreciate. Maya nodded slowly. Prepare a demonstration. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Wei, what's the status of our drive? Fully operational, Captain. We could break dock in under 3 minutes if necessary. Good. Keep it that way. Maya turned to Communications Officer Patel. Any progress decrypting their internal communications? Patel nodded. Some. Their encryption is sophisticated but based on mathematical principles we understand. I've managed to access what appears to be their equivalent of public news broadcasts. There's significant debate about our arrival. Some reports are calling us the quantum anomaly, while others use terms like disruptors or progression violators. Not exactly a warm welcome, Chen observed dryly. But useful information, Maya replied. They're uncertain how to handle us, which gives us room to maneuver. She stood, pacing the conference room. Here's our play. We offer a limited technology demonstration to show goodwill, while making it clear that humanity expects to be treated as equals, not as subjects to be managed according to their progression models. Before she could elaborate further, the ship's AI announced, Captain, priority communication from Resonance of Truth. Put it through. The crystalline diplomat's image appeared on the main screen, pulses of light moving rapidly through its structure. Captain Rodriguez, a situation has developed that requires immediate attention. An unregistered vessel has breached hub security and is attempting to dock near your position. We have reason to believe they intend to access your technology by force. Maya exchanged glances with her officers. Is this another unauthorized faction within your Concord? This is outside Concord jurisdiction entirely, Resonance of Truth replied, its pulses quickening. We believe they are fringe opportunists, technology pirates who operate beyond our boundaries. Your arrival and the rumors of your unique drive technology have attracted unwanted attention. So much for the Concord's vaunted security, Chen muttered. Maya nodded grimly. What do you propose, diplomat? We are dispatching security vessels, but the pirates have employed countermeasures that are delaying our response. Your vessel may be at risk before we can intervene. I see, Maya replied coolly. So after keeping us effectively contained for 3 days, you're now concerned about our safety from outside threats. The situation is complex, Resonance of Truth admitted. The Council has not yet reached consensus on how to classify humanity's status. Maya straightened her uniform. Then allow me to simplify it for you. The Pathfinder will defend itself if necessary, using whatever means we deem appropriate. Afterward, we expect the Council to recognize Earth's sovereignty and right to independent development, or we will depart and make our own way in the galaxy. She cut the transmission before the alien could respond. Battle stations, she ordered. Okonkwo, ready the demonstration we discussed, but prepare it for defensive deployment. Let's show our new friends exactly what humans can do when backed into a corner. As alarms sounded throughout the ship, Maya stared out at the approaching unidentified vessel. It moved erratically, its design unlike the elegant ships of the Concorde. All harsh angles and protruding weapons arrays. Scanners detect multiple targeting systems activating, Wei reported. They're preparing to fire. Defensive fields at maximum, Maya ordered. And ready our surprise. As the pirate vessel opened fire, the Pathfinder executed a maneuver that should have been impossible for a docked ship. Localized quantum fields manipulated space around the vessel, causing the incoming energy weapons to miss their target entirely, their beams bending around the distorted spacetime. Quantum field manipulator functioning perfectly, Okonkwo reported with barely contained excitement. They literally cannot hit us. On the main view screen, Maya could see the Concorde vessels approaching, but moving with the precision and caution typical of their methodical culture, too slow to intercept the agile pirate ship. They're preparing to board, Chen warned as the pirate vessel maneuvered alongside the Pathfinder. Maya smiled grimly. Extend the field. Okonkwo nodded, his fingers dancing across his console. The quantum field manipulator, originally designed as a safety system for their experimental drive, expanded to encompass the pirate vessel. Instantly, its engines sputtered and died as the localized distortion disrupted their power systems. What just happened? Chen asked, staring at the suddenly helpless pirate ship. Their technology follows conventional physical laws, Okonkwo explained with a grin. Ours bends them. Their systems aren't shielded against the kind of quantum fluctuations our field generates because, according to their unified theory, such fluctuations shouldn't be possible to control. The Concorde security vessels finally arrived, surrounding the disabled pirate ship. Maya opened a channel to Resonance of Truth. Your pirates have been neutralized, she announced calmly. The Pathfinder is undamaged, and we've disabled their vessel without destroying it. Consider it a demonstration of human problem-solving. Resonance of Truth's crystalline structure pulsed rapidly. How did you? That technology was not in any of the specifications you shared with us. Consider it a gesture of goodwill, Maya replied, and perhaps a reminder that humanity has more to offer the Concorde as allies than as subjects. We look forward to continuing our discussions with the Council as equals. As the transmission ended, Maya turned to her crew. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you play poker with a galaxy. They wanted to see what humans can do. Well, now they know. Just enough to be intrigued, not enough to be threatened. Or enough to be very threatened, Chen cautioned. They might see this as confirmation that we're too unpredictable to be trusted. Maya nodded soberly, which is why our next move is crucial. Okonkwo, prepare a full briefing on the defensive application we just demonstrated, with enough technical details to be useful but not enough to replicate. We're going to offer it as a goodwill gesture. A peace offering? Wei asked. No, Maya replied with a determined smile. An alliance proposal. The pirates won't be the only threat in this galaxy, and we just proved we have something unique to contribute to the Concorde security. The question is whether they're wise enough to recognize an opportunity when they see one. As the Concorde security vessels secured the pirate ship, Maya could see representatives from various factions already approaching the Pathfinder, their previous caution replaced by urgent curiosity. The game had changed, and humanity had just played its first winning hand. Proving ground. The Grand Council chamber of Concordance Hub 7 hummed with the excited communications of 23 different species. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood on a platform specially constructed for human physiology, facing the semicircular arrangement of delegates. After 2 weeks of negotiations, demonstrations, and political maneuvering, humanity's status within the galactic community was about to be determined. Resonance of Truth, now serving as humanity's advocate, addressed the assembly. The evidence is clear. The humans have developed quantum displacement technology through an entirely novel approach. Their defensive capabilities, as demonstrated during the pirate incursion, represent an advancement that complements rather than challenges our established systems. High Administrator Voxnera, a massive entity resembling a collection of floating geometric shapes, pulsed with skepticism. Novelty does not equate to safety. The harmonious progression doctrine exists for a reason. Unchecked technological development has led to the extinction of 37 known species. Maya stepped forward when indicated to speak. With respect, Administrator, the doctrine assumes that all species follow the same development path. Earth's history suggests otherwise. Our chaotic, competitive development process produced multiple parallel approaches to the same problems, wasteful in some ways, but extraordinarily effective at finding novel solutions. Solutions that violate fundamental principles, objected another council member. Or principles that aren't as fundamental as you believed, countered Maya. Our quantum displacement drive doesn't violate the laws of physics. It just approaches them from a different angle. The debate continued, with factions forming along predictable lines. The conservative coalition insisted on tight restrictions on human development and limited access to Concord space. The Progressive Alliance advocated for embracing the new perspective humans offered. The pragmatic consensus, currently holding the balance of power, remained undecided. Chief Engineer Okonkwo, standing beside Maya, whispered, "They're still missing the point. They keep trying to fit us into their existing framework instead of recognizing we represent something entirely new." Maya nodded slightly. Their daily briefings with the various factions had revealed a fundamental aspect of Concord civilization. For all their advanced technology, they struggled with conceptual innovation. Their civilization had optimized for stability and incremental improvement over disruptive change. Before the council could continue its deliberations, the chamber's alert system activated. A holographic display appeared in the center of the room, showing a massive distortion forming near the hub's outermost docking ring. "Void storm forming in Sector 7, announced an emergency system. "Unexpected quantum fluctuation detected. Stability protocols failing." The council erupted in confusion. Void storms, unpredictable tears in spacetime, were rare but devastating phenomena. The Concord's standard procedures involved evacuation and containment, accepting the loss of affected infrastructure. Maya turned to Okonkwo. "That's near where the Pathfinder is docked, and suspiciously close to where we demonstrated our quantum field manipulator," he added grimly. "Someone might have been trying to replicate our technology without understanding the stabilization principles." The High Administrator's voice cut through the chaos. Evacuation protocols initiated. All non-essential personnel to emergency shelters. The affected section will be isolated and— "Wait," Maya interrupted, stepping forward. "Your containment approach won't work. If this is what I think it is, conventional space-time barriers will only accelerate the expansion. You claim to understand a void storm." Vox Neris shapes rearranged in what might have been disbelief. "If it's caused by an attempted replication of our technology, yes." Maya turned to Okonkwo. "The quantum resonance pattern would be similar to our drive's initial testing phase." Okonkwo nodded rapidly. "Before we developed the asymmetric stabilization fields, we could adapt our manipulator to counteract it." Maya faced the council again. "We can help, but we need immediate access to our ship and your central control systems to coordinate the response." Voxinera's components spun in obvious agitation. "Impossible. Hub control systems are restricted to those who know how to save your station," Maya interrupted firmly. "You can maintain your protocols and lose this entire hub, or you can trust us and potentially save thousands of lives. Choose now." After a moment of tense silence, resonance of truth moved forward. "I will authorize access. The Progressive Alliance accepts responsibility." As emergency alerts continued to sound, Maya and Okonkwo were escorted to a control center near the affected area. Commander Chen and Lieutenant Wei had already brought essential equipment from the Pathfinder. "Status," Maya demanded as soon as they arrived. "The distortion is expanding exponentially," reported a Concord technician, their tentacles working multiple control surfaces simultaneously. "Evacuation is 43% complete, but at current expansion rates, catastrophic hull breach will occur before full evacuation." Maya nodded to Okonkwo, who immediately began interfacing their equipment with the hub's systems. "We need to establish a resonance counter pattern," he explained as he worked, "essentially creating an opposing quantum field that will neutralize the distortion." "Like fighting fire with fire," Chen suggested. "More like fighting a specific frequency of sound with its inverse," Okonkwo corrected. "The trick is getting the pattern exactly right. Too weak, and it won't stabilize the breach. Too strong, and we could make it worse." Maya turned to the Concord operators. "We need more power diverted to this section, and I need a direct communication link to our ship." The alien technicians hesitated, looking to their supervisors for approval. A crystalline entity. Resonance of Truth's assistant pulsed authorization, and they complied. "Pathfinder, this is the captain." Maya spoke into the communication system. "Initiate emergency protocol Quantum 7. Route all power to the primary field generator and prepare for remote synchronization." "Acknowledged, Captain," came the reply from Lieutenant Pottle. "Field generator at full capacity, awaiting synchronization." Okonkwo's fingers flew across the interface he'd created between their systems and the hubs. "The void storm is definitely showing the resonance patterns of an unstable quantum displacement field. Someone tried to recreate our technology without understanding the stabilization requirements." "Can you counter it?" Maya asked. "Yes, but I'll need the hub's central computer to help calculate the exact inverse pattern. Their computational capacity exceeds ours by several orders of magnitude." The senior Concord technician, a being resembling a collection of geometric shapes connected by energy fields, moved forward. "Such access requires council authorization." Maya locked eyes with the alien. "Your station is tearing itself apart at the quantum level. In about 15 minutes, that tear will reach your main reactor, and then you'll have bigger problems than protocol violations." After a moment of internal lights pulsing in complex patterns, the technician extended an appendage toward their console. "Access granted to central computational arrays. May harmony preserve us." With the hub's immense computing power now available, Okonkwo's work accelerated dramatically. "Got it. Synchronizing counterfield now." On the main display, they could see the void storm, a writhing distortion in space that seemed to bend light around it, growing larger by the second. As Okonkwo activated their countermeasures, a new pattern of energy emerged from the Pathfinder and the hub's power systems, surrounding the distortion. "It's working," Chen observed as the expansion visibly slowed. "The distortion is stabilizing." Okonkwo shook his head. "Stabilizing but not reducing. We need more power to actually collapse it." The Concord technician's patterns dimmed. "We are at maximum safe output levels. Any further power diversion risks catastrophic overload." Maya looked at the display, watching evacuation indicators as thousands of beings flooded the affected sections. They were running out of time. "What if we pulsed the countermeasure?" she suggested. "Instead of a continuous field, hit it with everything we've got in coordinated bursts." Okonkwo considered for a moment, then nodded. "That could work. It would bypass the safety limiters while avoiding sustained overload. But the timing would have to be perfect. Can the hub's systems handle that level of precision?" Chen asked the alien technician. The geometric being's patterns shifted. "Theoretically. But our protocols don't allow for such unpredictable power management." "Your protocols are what got us into this mess," Maya said firmly. "Sometimes you need to improvise." After a moment of internal communion with its peers, the technician extended multiple appendages to the control surfaces. "We will attempt your solution." Coordination protocols initiated. What followed was a delicate dance between human intuition and Concord precision. Okonkwo directed the strategy while the alien technicians executed it with a level of coordination that would have been impossible for humans alone. Power surged through the station in precisely timed pulses, each one hammering at the quantum distortion like a chisel striking stone. "It's working," Chen exclaimed as the void storm began to shrink. "The distortion is collapsing." With a final, massive power surge that momentarily dimmed lights throughout the hub, the quantum distortion collapsed entirely, leaving behind nothing but a section of damaged hull plating and equipment. "Void storm neutralized," the Concord system announced. "Damage contained to sections 77 through 82. Casualty report: 0 fatalities, 17 injuries reported." Maya let out the breath she'd been holding and turned to Okonkwo. "Well,